Ernst, co-founder of SlapFive, and I'm joined here by my team, Tim, Mike, Sean, wave guys. So let me start off with a question. How many people here have made a purchase for their company, let's say over $50,000, $100,000, $1 million? Anybody? Anybody make a purchase? And okay, those of you that raised your hand, how many made that decision entirely on what the salesperson for the vendor told you? None. Okay, how about no hands? How about 50% of your decision was based on that? No? 20%? 2%? 2%. Okay, we have a 2%. So let me. So we're here to talk about a new concept. And my inspiration for starting SlapFive, or the concept behind it, came from work I did at Forrester Research as an analyst covering B2B buyer behavior. And really, over and over again, projects and research that we did showed that customers today just put such little trust in what a company's marketing and sales messages have to say. So all of their trust goes into what their peers and colleagues have to say. They want to know what it's like to be a customer before they buy from a company. And so I like to say we now live and work in a trust economy, and especially now. But for the last 10 years or so in B2B sales and marketing, it's all been about content and pushing so much content out into the marketplace and pushing the company's voice into the marketplace, to the point where we've created so much noise that we're confusing buyers. They're overloaded with vendor content, and a lot of it just trying to disguise it as useful or educational, but it's really promotional content. And that's got to stop, because we believe that the longer that continues to happen, it's going to cause a whole bubble, the bubble to burst, for what B2B sales and marketers are trying to do. I see some head nodding here. Are you agreeing with me? Okay. And so there's got to be a better way. And what we believe is that the better way, and for the future of B2B marketing and sales, is about getting the customer's voice out there, not just the company's voice, because that's what really influences people. That's what helps companies make decisions. People always want to know, how did other customers get executive level approval to move forward with an initiative like this? What types of skill sets were needed to do this? So I'm going to jump in just a real quick marketecture. So our platform, it's an engine for capturing and unleashing the customer voice. At the heart of it are customer stories that are short snippets of audio, video, or text, or numeric-based stories that are in response to certain questions or statements that are giving it context. And I usually do this in about 5 minutes. I'm doing this in 10 seconds. And then there are innovative ways of capturing these stories and automating that capture and getting over all the problems that companies have with traditional case studies and testimonial quotes. And then these stories can be published on what we call boards and cards that can then be assembled for different use cases, different challenges that your company is having across the customer lifecycle, and then published to social media, to your website, to different sections of your website, to PowerPoint presentations, to dedicated landing pages, whatever you have. And then we measure the whole thing. We measure the usage, we measure the impact on deals and deal acceleration, and the actual usefulness. How useful are people finding this content? I'm going to bring up an example of a board, that we call it, of SlapFive, what we produce. On the resolution change since earlier, so usually you see a little bit more on the screen. But this is a case of a company that was trying to address the biggest doubts that its buyers have. And so we actually asked a couple of their customers questions like, what types of initiatives have you done better with help from Serious Decisions? Because it's the doubt that people have about, is this research that they provide so theoretical that it's not going to help me on a day-to-day basis? So that's just one example. I'll just bring up one other example from another company. Here's a totally different view. A customer of ours right around the corner here, Carbon Black. And so what they're doing is they're trying to create urgency among security buyers, and they've embedded our customer stories right within their website with a lead gen form, because they're trying to get people to create urgency among chief security officers to understand why it is that people are upgrading and migrating from traditional antivirus. And then just real quick, this is just sort of the mobile capture. Here's just an example of that, where start off, you get it's easy as giving a customer a text message. They agree that they're ready to answer this question. They see a web page, mobile responsive web page that just tells them, asks them a particular question. In this case, we let them answer by audio, video, or text. And in this case, I'm going to say video. I record a little snippet of myself, hit done. Then we can ask them the permission for using it, because this is a big struggle. I say, oh, you can use this, show it to the whole world, and then we're done. And this is just a way to see it within Salesforce.com, so your salespeople or marketing people or anybody in your company can go find these things and use them. So I think I went a little bit over, right? So let me stop there. Let me just say, if you're interested in seeing what these mobile prompts that I was describing look like, all you need to do is text easy voice to 797979, and later this week we'll send you an example of one of these mobile prompts. Okay, questions?
Very interesting idea. How do you deal with the issue of approval? For example, let's say you want to get a quote from Dassault about something magnificent that you've done for them, and you ask George. And George seems like he's a bit of a rule breaker, and he's going to go ahead and sort of maybe give you something. But someone in Dassault is very concerned about what he said as a representative of Dassault. And in particular, you talked about taking these things, segmenting them, repackaging them. How do you get approval for that?
Great question. And that's the holy grail of what we're doing, because I've lived that challenge for 20 years before actually coming up with the solution. And so there's a number of ways. First and foremost, the number one is you don't ask your customers for endorsements, testimonials, or recommendations, because they're handcuffed for the most part. Especially the bigger the company, they're not allowed to give recommendations or endorsements. Instead, our methodology is all around asking them to share their knowledge, their experiences, and their feedback, and their advice. And everybody wants to give advice. Every customer wants to be heard. And if you think about it, we just had a previous session about social media. A lot of these people that have these handcuffs in their company, they're out there posting about companies on social media. And so, again, by asking, and the whole value of asking for more about experiences and advice is because that's what potential customers want to learn about. They want to learn about, how did you go about getting executive level approval to this initiative? What skill sets did you need when you moved forward with this? How did you measure success? What roadblocks did you hit along the way, and how did you overcome them? So those are the things that we're capturing, not the vanilla, platitude testimonial quote that causes people to have those restrictions. And you can see I anticipated this question. This is the most intelligent question that comes up whenever I present. We have, there's lots of different additional ways I can get into as well that get over that hurdle of the customer permissioning. Yep, question?
How do you deal with the response you want?
So the response you didn't want, there's no such thing as a response you didn't want, okay? Believe me, there's no such thing. Because you might get an incredibly negative response, but there's incredible value in what that customer had to say. And what's different, the prior session was about sort of aggregating lots of volumes of data, analytical data. We're getting more of that qualitative data. So let's say you've gotten a bunch of negative responses about your last product launch. To use our software, you've collected them, you bring them, put them together on a single board, send it around to the executive team. Let them see what customers are saying about that product launch. Send it to your product managers to learn what they can do better the next time around. So it's a whole customer voice program that you can run here. And you're not just trying to get the cream of the crop advice. And even when the things that you put publicly, we tell people if you want to really earn trust, you have to be more vulnerable and share, not just the 100% positive approval. Because when you go to TripAdvisor, you see a 5-star rating and everything was absolutely perfect, you know that was probably written by a staff member from the resort. So it's, you got to earn trust. Yep.
Can you touch on your pricing and your business model?
Yep, so the business model, it's a software as a service with a monthly subscription, charged on an annual basis, like a lot of software. And we have it tiered basically based on the number of customers that somebody's going to want to engage. Because what's different about this than writing case studies and things like that is you can have an ongoing customer voice program where customers know that they're periodically going to get questions asked of them, and they can participate at their leisure and just answer whatever questions they want to answer. So it's a monthly subscription, tiered pricing by the number of customers. And I think I Perfect timing. I think I just hit the end. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.